Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope that you are doing so very well. Today I'm going to be reviewing a book, and that is Progeny of Gods by Jeffrey Storm. This video is sponsored by Jeffrey as well, just telling you that up front. Yes, this review is going to be a non-spoiler review. I figured a lot of you have probably not read this, and maybe you're watching this because you're like, what's this book all about? I'm interested in reading this. So I want as many of you as possible to hear my thoughts about it and decide whether or not this might be the book for you. Gonna go ahead and put this up here. I want to make it so the lights don't shine on it. Yeah. Overall, I enjoyed this book. I didn't love it. I didn't really like it, but I enjoyed reading it. There were some things I really liked and some things that I didn't really like, and I'm going to talk about all of those with you now in the most non-spoilery way possible. I did give this book a 3 out of 5 stars, so I'll just tell you that right now. This book follows a boy named Grayson. He leaves his hometown to try and become a royal guard. He gets hand-plucked from his guard back home to go to the capital. Grayson has heard about this capital city all his life. He's heard stories of these 7-mile tall trees, and he's always wanted to go there and like fulfill his destiny, and now he finally gets to do that. Within like a few hours of being at the capital, he accidentally releases Sticula, who is basically like evil man. It's not good. That just sets off a series of chain reactions. There's just so many things that happen from that over just really a couple of days, and that's basically what it's about. First up, the characters. I enjoyed reading the characters a lot. Grayson was a really interesting main character. He has a lot of things that he deals with in this book, a lot of like working through things and just kind of like fighting with himself and his inner darkness. This has a lot of like light versus darkness, which is something I always love reading. Sam is the main girl character, and I liked her because she's a pretty strong, great girl character. I didn't feel like she had a ton of story outside of Grayson, which wasn't super fantastic, and I would have loved to see more of her, but Grayson is the main character, so it makes sense. Grayson's best friend Tay is also pretty interesting. They just all have a lot of really big personalities. Characters having great personalities is one of the main things I love about books. Sticula was the villain, but he was also a very interesting character. Definitely not what you think he is at first. I don't really want to say exactly what that means because spoilers, but he's definitely not what you expect. He's got a lot more levels and a lot more layers to him than you initially see in the first couple chapters. I liked that because he was like an interesting villain, not just like a villain. He was like interesting and had a backstory and had different things revealed about him as the story went on. Halfway through the book is when things really started to pick up for me. I really started to get invested in the story and really interested in the story, but that first half I was like, alright, we're doing this. When are things happening? It just feels really slow and the pacing feels really off to me. But the second half is where the book really shone, and the ending was fantastic. The writing in this book I didn't really love. I think it may have been partially the characters, though I did love reading their personalities. They just had a lot of really crass humor that I didn't love. I'm just not a crass humor type of person, so if you're into that kind of thing, you might like this a lot, but I didn't really like that aspect of it, and it was a pretty big aspect, especially of Grayson and Tay's relationship. There is a lot of cussing and there is a lot of violence. If you want to read this, just be aware of that. The descriptions of things a lot of times confused me, especially the fight scenes and the technology, which is a lot of really cool, interesting technology. The descriptions of those really confused me, and I didn't really understand what was going on some of the time. I was just like, and I would have to flip back and be like, let's try reading this page or 2 pages again to try to understand what's going on. And a lot of times I just didn't get it, and I was like, alright, we're just moving on because I don't understand what's happening at all. The things I did like about the world building were the elements that were drawn from things like Star Wars and Kingdom Hearts. I could definitely see those influence hardcore in this book, and I really enjoyed those little Easter eggs and those influences, because then I was like, oh, I get what this is coming from. This is so cool. And like I said, the technologies, when I understood them, were really cool. I really enjoyed the whole like wooden bark ship technology thing. It was just like so different and so interesting. It just made for a really like rustic feel to a high-tech environment. Another thing I really loved reading about this book was the gods and the kind of like religion system. The main 2 gods are light and dark. It was just really unique and a lot different than a lot of things I've read before. How the gods interact with humankind and how they kind of like manipulate and do things and how they work in the story is really cool. cool. There were also a few things that confused me at the end. One girl in particular, I'm not gonna say who or how she comes into the story because I'm keeping this non-spoilery, but she kind of like was a major player at the end of the story, and it just wasn't described well enough for me to understand what her purpose really was. I got snippets here and there and I could piece things together, but it just wasn't outright obvious why she was a major player and why she was so important. So yeah, that's my review. That's pretty much all I have to say. That is non-spoilery. If this sounds like something you would enjoy, definitely go check it out. I will leave the link to Amazon and Goodreads for this book down below, and you can definitely go check it out if it sounds like something you would be interested in. Overall, enjoyed it, just didn't like love it. Cool, glad I read it, but not like the best, blow me out of the water amazing. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye. There are dogs barking. Wow. Oh my gosh, it's like I'm crying. What?